What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. Sin is
Yes.
officially in the building.
I'm here.
Jokes is on the way. Probably be sneaking in. What's the time frame? Sin 8:51.
I'm gonna give him a clean 8:45.
8:45. All
Give him a
right.
clean 8:45.
I feel like you're giving some extra, but all right. You know what I mean? I'm with
Okay.
folks out there in internet land. You are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today, your boy's a little loopy because I'm these muscle relaxers said chill out.
They got you feeling good.
What up, Doctor Who? But we have lots and lots and lots to talk about. Before we get into all of that, Sin, if you wouldn't mind jumping in and taking care of Jokes' normal work, since Jokes is not here at the moment. Hey, Zay.
That is not a problem.
Sin will get that Beacons link up for you. For those of you who are here, generally speaking, you know what that is. It's the best way to follow us. All of our links across social media, including X, which I don't know how long that'll be a thing, but it's a thing right now, and so
got to deal with it.
I guess, right, Sin?
Yeah.
I also sent, if you look in the private chat, I sent you another link.
I saw it.
If you would grab that link. So, some of you have been asking. We did have StellarCon. A little over a week ago. We have been putting up the panels from StellarCon as we got them, but now we have a single convenient playlist that has all of the panels in them. So Kevin Grievous, Jesse T. Usher, all the Crystal Gems, Roger Bumpus, TC Carson, all of those are in there. It's just an easy place to go in one fell swoop and just kind of watch it all. You are right, man. Spidey Week is upon us, and I gotta go buy some Wheaties, guys. Can't stand it. What was that, Cuddy? I got hurt. What happened? If I don't want to get blasted, what happened? If you don't want it blasted, I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
I guess how you hurt yourself.
Is that a threat though? Like, is that a threat? Like, if I don't fill you in on what's going on,
next time we get GTA,
like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had a little bit of a mishap, but I'm all right. Hey, Kai. Yeah. So that link that Sin just shared again takes you directly to our YouTube, which is a direct playlist of all the StellarCon panels. StellarCon was really dope. The panels I feel like went really well. I will say that the Crystal Gems joint is definitely a highlight. No, like if you don't want your business on. Oh, I see what you. Oh, thanks for translating, Zay. I appreciate that. Nah, I mean, yeah, I got I overdid a little bit at work, and so I went to Kaiser, and Kaiser was like, "Relax those muscles, buddy." So, all right. You know what I mean? My trigger fingers still work. Both of them. You know what I mean? What's up, Heather? I do want to take a moment to say it was such a pleasure to see Heather at StellarCon. As always. Heather rocking out the karaoke. You know what I'm saying? Was most wonderful. Thanks for hanging out in our little loading snacks corner with us that we kind of commandeered. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. Definitely saw some faces we hadn't seen in quite some time. Magic Mike was there, and his brother. It was just cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To kind of hang out at the after party and do all that.
I'm glad I stayed for the after party. I'm glad I did.
I am too, dog. It's about time you got your old ass out and did something. You know what I mean? Instead of
go home and watch wrestling or
go home and watching anime all the time.
It was cool. It was cool. I had a good time.
There's nothing wrong with staying home and watching anime and playing video games, but every now and again, bruh, a bunch of fresh, dirty, fresh air.
Right.
This is Con Air. So like, not to be confused with the
No,
movie,
this different air. This is different air.
could do you some good. Shout out to Ghosty Muffin for, you know what I mean, breaking her karaoke virginity and singing Toxicity with me. That was it was a good
Thank you,
time.
Heather.
Definitely
Thank you, Heather.
oh man, hanging with the cool kids. If is that who we are,
Of course.
that's special. Thanks. Definitely thanks. Yeah. So again, that was a good time. Please
100%.
go and check out the panels. The panels are actually doing pretty well in terms of views and so forth. I'm seeing some shares, some likes, some comments, and that kind of thing. I'm gonna say that like we've done a lot of interviews, had a lot of panels with a lot of people and stuff like that. The crystal gems, actually not just them, because even like TC Carson specifically, like when I post something and I tag them, they respond, they message me, they hit stuff. Like I posted something about Estelle like yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and she like within like an hour like responded back. Like it's just kind of cool to have
Dope.
people that kind of have that reach and know that something that they've done is so important to so many people, and for them to
Mm-hmm.
just kind of be, chill about it. I did actually take a moment to just say to her that I appreciated her taking the time to allow us to interview her at BlurCon a few years back. That was, I think, 2019
Yeah, something like that.
when
Yeah.
we did that. She was like, "Oh yeah, I remember." So it was cool to kind of have that. You're right, Doctor Who. Estelle is super nice, super
Mm-hmm.
nice. But all of them were like,
They were
all of
great
them
on stage.
were like
All three of them were great.
super nice, just really chill. And it's kind of hard to do something like that when you're in a situation where like the stage that you're on is so open to the public, and normally you really try to get the celebrity guests just a little like behind the scenes info. Like normally, they'd be on a stage that the patrons wouldn't normally have access to, right? Like you might be sitting close, you're on the stage, you can ask questions, stuff like that. But like getting up and down from that stage, you're really just kind of out in the open with people, and like trying to get people either back to their rooms so that they could go sign more autographs or make it to their pictures in time, or just to go eat or make it to the bathroom, and you're kind of playing host slash security slash whatever. And Michaela was absolutely hilarious. Like running up the ramp, and she's different. Her energy is just different. um and people are kind of coming up, and like entire families, like I'm not even joking, like Dee Dee Magno Hall, like I'm trying to get her off the stage and like out. We were trying to get them to go shoot a picture in front of the Steven Universe van, which the person who made it, Cosplay Mutt, really cool dude, um had actually had photos done before with Dee Dee and Michaela, but it never managed to get all three of them, and definitely had not had Estelle. And so he came to me ahead of time, was like, "Hey man, like if you think there's
Yeah.
any way we could get all three of them, like I would be." And I was like, "I'll see what I can do to work it out." And like managed to get Estelle and like Michaela out there, but then like Dee Dee got stopped by like literally this entire Filipino family. When I say their entire family, I mean like the
Yeah.
mother, the father, like a brother, two sisters, and whatever. And like the whole family was in tears. Like all of them were crying. And then like even Michaela kind of came up and tried to like not intervene, because they want to be really good to people, because they appreciate that people appreciate what they've done, and they appreciate that like something that they've done means so much to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that this was one of those things where it was like it was an extra special thing because she's from the Philippines and they were a family from the
Yeah.
Philippines. And even Michaela was like, "Are you guys from the Philippines?" And she was like, and they were like, "Yeah." And she was like, "That's awesome. I'm not, but I'm happy for you." Like she just, her energy, like it's something different. You know what I mean? And like, you're trying to get people there and people just kind of keep stopping you. You're kind of trying to, weave them out. And that's not a thing that, I think you normally have to deal with when you're in a situation like that, a lot of times that stage would lead to a backstage into an area where, the people who are there don't really have access to you. And that is one of the things that makes StellarCon kind of really special. But it also makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of keep within time constraints and get people where they need to go, and that those kinds of things. So, just shout out to the entire experience. It was cool. And like I said, they've been really great about posting stuff and reposting stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
being in like DMs and that kind of stuff has been pretty cool over the last like week or so. Sin,
Yeah.
do you remember a week ago we did this show and we talked about the newer ugly PlayStation,
Ah, yes, the PlayStation Slim, if you will.
PlayStation Slim.
Mm-hmm.
So after the announcement of the PlayStation Slim, right? There have been a lot of talks about how the Slim isn't really any different other than size from the current PlayStation 5 models, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting more power. You are getting a slightly larger hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not getting any more power, any of that kind of stuff. Um, you remember, like we kind of talked about that a little bit. That
I
basically
thought
the
it
same
was.
thing
I
as
thought
this.
it was a little power boost too. I thought it was a little,
Nope,
but okay,
nah.
okay.
Um, However, that has led to a lot of rumors about an actual PS5 Pro still coming. And part of the reason why, other than the fact that this doesn't have any more power than the
Yeah.
current one does, is that the same person who leaked the PS5 Slim and the detachable add on drive
Mm-hmm.
like months ago also leaked a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Mm.
And so, because there have been no advances in the chip, because the price point is the same for the disc version, but it's more expensive for the non-disc version compared to the current non-disc version, a lot of people are speculating that a PlayStation 5 Pro is in fact still coming, and that it will probably not have a disc, and or they are trying to gear people towards being ready for an add-on drive, like it might actually be the same add-on drive that
That
works
just
on the Slim,
just works on the Pro as
um
well.
to kind of prepare people mentally for it, but that something else is probably still coming. So my question to you, Sin, is one, are you as surprised as I think I am and most people seem to be that the announcement of the Slim and how soon the Slim is supposed to be coming out because it's November is so close?
Yeah, yeah. It's weird. With that getting ready to drop pretty much, and we have this information as well now. Does that mean the Pro is coming next year?
Well, that's my question to you now is if a 5 that is a Pro is coming, when is it coming? If they are, because here's the other thing, if you remember that when they announced the Slim last week, they also said that once the current version of the PS5 is gone, that'll be it. That this Slim version is replacing
Mm-hmm.
the current version of the PlayStation 5. And so the one that exists now won't be available anymore. Um, does next year seem viable? Does that seem right?
Uh,
Does that seem too
it's
soon? Like if
it does seem
you
too. It does seem too soon, especially coming off the heels of this. Like it feels too soon, even though they have no power. Still feels too early for this. Um, I'm thinking as far as when they would release it, I think they're gonna try to get rid of the older stock first to make sure these slims are the ones that you can only get. Then they'll put out the announcement of the Pro 5 is coming. I think that's how they do it. maybe sometime late next year at the earliest. I'm thinking this time next year at the very earliest, depending on how fast they can move these older units.
I mean, I have a feeling that through the holiday, what's to say? Do you think it will be like when PS5 came out, where there was a lottery system to get one? Are you referring to when they do the Pro, or are you referring to the Slim, Andrew? As far as the lottery system is concerned, um, I will say that what I know about the Slim now is that they are saying it will be at regular retail as well as available directly through the PlayStation Store. However, even though last week they said it was coming in November, they did not give a date, which I find completely strange. That you are maybe only a month out
Yeah.
and you haven't given a date yet, which means either their intention is for it to hit right before Black Friday, which is the only thing that really makes sense to me. Because I mean,
Yeah.
they could do it on the anniversary of the PlayStation 5 released in November of 2020, 2019. Are we 3 years in 2020?
Ooh.
So we're 3 years in. These systems tend to have a 7 to 8 year lifespan before they replace it with a new generation.
Mm.
So an update to a Slim isn't crazy 3 years in. I know for a lot of people, it feels like, though, it is soon because a lot of people don't have that PlayStation 5 yet. Even though it's selling better than the PlayStation 4 did, it was just so hard to get for so
Everybody get one.
long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scalpers made it harder to get.
1000%.
Um, I think that there are a lot of people who are going to be interested in getting a new PlayStation, and I'm not positive that they're going to care whether they get the Slim or they get the original,
Mm-hmm.
because they power wise they are the same thing. The one thing that is different, and we did talk about this last week, is that if you are going to get the PlayStation 5 all digital version, the current one is $50 less than the new one, which is crazy, because what that means is that Sony is effectively saving money in making the system because it's smaller, the components cost less, and over time, all of those parts become cheaper to make, which means they would be making more money. Two, they have already raised the price of the PlayStation 5 basically everywhere else except for the US. And in this case, you are getting less system and they are charging you more money. There is only a $50 price difference now, as opposed to the $100 price difference between the digital and the non,
Right.
which says to me they probably have way more of the digital versions sitting as available stock of the current PlayStation 5 that they want to get rid of. And making the new one more expensive will push people to
Yeah,
buy
the
the
other one.
digital one
Yeah.
because they're saving $50 or $100. That's what it is. Again, upside and downside. Upside being you can upgrade the hard drive inside of a current PlayStation 5 to get more memory, which is
Mm-hmm.
way cheaper now than it was when the PlayStation 5 came out.
1000%.
You could easily add a terabyte to a PlayStation 5 now for around the $50 price difference of getting the new system.
Especially with Black Friday coming up, that's right there. Like nice and cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there has been zero word from Sony on whether or not you can upgrade or update the hard drive in the slim models. So we don't know if, even though they're giving us more hard drive in the base model, whether or not you can
Can we,
upgrade it or not.
right. And that is important.
Very much so. The other thing is traditionally Sony makes their systems so that the hard drives are literally connected to the motherboard. So like if you have, I'm sorry, not the hard drive, the disk drive. So if the disk drive goes bad, you can't just replace it. You need to replace the entire thing. Um, and so now that we're having systems that don't have that, or you can just add on a separate one, that kind of changes that, which means that there's probably a fundamental change in the motherboard, which is probably less expensive for them as well. Those things being in play, I think a lot of people are going to buy PlayStation 5s. Spider-Man will be at minimum a month old. Spider-Man 2 will be a month old when the Slim hits. They are packaging the current system with Spider-Man 2. The new one, I'm sure, will not be. Which makes sense because you want to move the old models and get rid of them.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? If they sell millions and millions of PlayStation 5s this holiday, and then next holiday, they're like, guess what, y'all? New, more powerful PlayStation 5.
And drop it with the right game. Ooh.
Wolverine?
Yeah. That's the first that popped in my head was Wolverine.
I mean,
them things would fly off the shelves.
It could get ugly.
No questions asked. They would fly off the shelf.
Next year seems really soon, though.
Agreed.
For them to go to a PlayStation 5 Pro after just announcing the Slim. However, if the rumors that we saw from the Microsoft leak were true, then the Microsoft Xbox Slim models, which are not any more powerful, are supposed to come out middle of next year and then November next year, which means if PlayStation introduces a PlayStation 5 next year at the same time, they jump back into the lead of having the most powerful console on the planet.
Right.
Right? So it could be really good for them if people are still in the market. That's just assuming that's what Microsoft is still doing, because they have also come out on record and said, we're not doing an update. Right now, the Series X is our update. And the Series S is the base.
Well, I think we're going to have to keep those documents in the tuck for right now and just see how the timeline ends up next year and, just see how things shift and change.
Let's do a reality check. Sin, what would Sony have to offer in a PlayStation 5 Pro to make it worth it? Because based on where we are and the fact that console prices have not come down, they have in fact gone up or stayed the same over the course of this time. Either we see a PlayStation 5 price drop in a year, or the Pro is going to be $600 base price. It has to be at least $100 more than the PS5 with the hard drive. Now, if in fact
they also need a game to come out with it that can show off why it's so powerful, one of them type of things.
Wolverine.
You know what I mean? Last of Us 3. something, one of those type of things that is going to move units.
Tsushima being worked on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something to push the power up.
What's up, buddy? Can't hear
What's
you, bro.
up?
Thanks. Welcome to the show. Let's see. I will buy it if it let me play my favorite PS1, 2, or 3 games that I own. Well, now listen. Yeah, don't count on that. I mean, look, if you're talking about physical discs, Andrew, you can probably forget that, because I have a feeling that the PS5 Pro won't have a disk drive at all. And that does put them in the realm of making the PS5 Pro possibly only $50 more.
Hats off to you, sir.
So
Me.
was that you saying I was going to be sooner and Sin was saying later?
I said you read about
Nah.
8:45. He said 8:51.
Yeah.
He didn't overbid.
Which means you walked in the door at 8:45 but couldn't get on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's all. We was both right. Yeah, so I could see them dropping a PS5 that has no drive in it, that is only $50 more than the PlayStation 5 Digital Slim that doesn't have a drive in it. And then you're at 500 and you drop the price of their regular one. But if they do $100 more, it's 550, and it keeps it from quite getting to 600. Like, I think if there's anything that Sony has learned, 600 is just too much. People ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, they did that.
Time is hard.
Hey, put your hand in the fire, you got burnt. You know what I mean? You learn.
What can they do? I mean, what are they going to promise you in a PlayStation 5 Pro that would make you say, I need to have this?
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Literally
8K?
Don't even care about 8K.
I don't have an 8K TV.
I have no plans
anyway.
buying the 8K TV anytime soon. So that doesn't do the trick.
I don't think there's anything I can think of
off the
top of my head.
They could do an upgraded. They could do an upgraded CPU and GPU.
I was on the only thing I was
bring
going
it
to say.
closer in line to what you get with
like the 40
current
series
PC.
video cards. That would be the closest thing to probably do that extra to get me into it. But other than that,
I honestly think that's a much harder sell, though, for most people, right? I just think that, like, telling people, oh, the ray tracing is so good, like, people can't.
Yeah, they won't.
I just don't think the average person can see that. And so maybe if you tout it as a premium product for the people who know, just in the same way that, like, a 4080 or 4090 graphics card is for people who know. It ain't for everybody. It's for the people willing to spend the money who know what they can really get out of it. Then maybe, right? But I think they failed miserably in trying to demonstrate how well Ratchet and Clank ran on a PlayStation 5 based on the SSD, saying like, oh, you can only jump through these portals into this world without loading times with this kind of drive, right? Or that the ability for Spider-Man to make it from one area of the city to another area of the city is literally based on how quickly they can load in the assets that he has to swing by, right? And we saw those tests come out when Ratchet and Clank hit PC, and there's definitely a difference between running it on a hard drive and running it on an SSD, though completely doable, right? Under most circumstances. So I don't think, like, telling people this can only be done with the power of the PlayStation 5 and the SSD that's in there, like, you're gonna have to give them more. And when Apple is chomping at the heels going, oh, we can give you the full console experience on your phone. Natively. To put out a PlayStation 5 Pro means, like, you really have to be pushing the envelope, and you have to have something demonstrable. And I don't know what that would be, but I'm so eager to see what it is because I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Early adopters.
You know what I'm saying?
Early
I'm just
adopters
like,
is here.
I'm a sucker for it. Like,
that's what I was saying before.
God.
Like,
look at the hair follicles. I'm like, I gotta have it. Look at the hair. Like, you know, that's just. But I, I'm not like.
They got them mapper eyes.
The map. Got them Gojo.
I don't know, man. Like, obviously games that feel like they're getting more and more real. There's definitely differences in the engines and what, like, an Unreal Engine 5 can do and stuff like that and what it's going to look like. But, like, some of those promises of, like, really great looking games, like a Forspoken, just have fallen flat. right? Like it looks great, super pretty, but nobody cares, right? Like the game isn't necessarily fun or doesn't necessarily look good. And meanwhile, games like Fortnite that are very much more cartoony and heavy and that kind of stuff are like going crazy and making billions of dollars. So, you know, it remains to be seen. Joke, since you just jumped in, we getting a PlayStation 5 Pro next year?
How many years are we at now? This would be...
We're at 3 right now. The 3-year anniversary is coming up in a few weeks. It's like November like 10th or 17th or something like that. Like the Xbox and the PlayStation both came out like a week apart in 2020.
2020. I don't think we'll see. I don't think we'll see the Pro next year. Maybe we'll get the, I don't even want to say an announcement, but just the fact that like an official, yes, it's being worked on type of thing. I think 2025, I feel like is probably the opportune time to do it. Like, don't get me wrong. I know they wanted to slim down the production so they could make the parts more accessible and things like that. So this would be the time to do that on that front, but then start gathering and banking those other components that you need for the Pro model while you kind of run through everything. So I don't think it'll get released next year, but I think the like official statement or announcement about it, we probably will get.
So are we talking holiday 2025?
Because when the Series X and the PS5 came out, that was that September?
No, it was November.
It was November. That was November. Damn. It really didn't seem like a November. Listen, I'm just thinking about when we were shut down and we were selling them when they came out. That seemed like damn near September, October.
That was
fun
times getting those calls.
I'm pretty sure. Those calls from you, Jokes. Real quick and double check it, but I'm pretty sure they were both in November of 2020. Damn. But I mean, look, I could see like maybe halfway through 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they maybe wouldn't want to wait too much longer than that. I could see maybe halfway through 2025, but that also means that they sell a lot more PlayStation 5s the holiday before that. And then 6 months later, they're like, aha. But I mean, how else do you do that, right? I mean, at some point, you have to rip the Band-Aid off and go, hey, we have a more powerful system that's coming, or whatever at some point. And I do also think that there's a possibility that they make the decision to hold on to that until they do have that killer app, right? So it is Last of Us 3. It is, so it very much could be that maybe if they are ready to go, maybe that one game, that killer app isn't quite there yet. And so they're like, well, once this is ready to hit, we're going to do that. And we'll do those together to push it. Because we're probably getting the next Switch in like March or April. I shouldn't say the next Switch, but the next Nintendo console in March or April of next year. And so that would be, if the Xbox rumors are true and we get a PS5 Pro, that would be 3 consoles in 1 year. And that's a lot. Not that they care what the other ones are doing, but of course not. That's a lot. All right, since we're on gaming, Jokes. Did you see the Mortal Kombat Omni-Man trailer?
I damn sure did.
Well, guess what? You about to see it
about
again.
To see it again. Here you go. I'm happy to watch this show again. If it left
You have destroyed worlds. I have erased whole timelines.
Finally, a worthy challenge.
I was like, yeah.
The Viltrum Empire. You will burn for this invasion.
The quick shot.
Right out the
this
show,
show right here, right out of the show.
I need him.
Hey, listen. As soon as they show my man's fatalities and jumping straight out of the show that he used, I was like, I'm good. I'm sold.
That makes me so excited to see what they do with like Homelander and like Peacekeeper. Just see if they pull stuff from the show.
Oh, you know they have to.
They have to. You know what I'm saying? They have to. It's gonna be so good, bro. Like next month.
Mm-hmm.
I think
next month, yeah,
November. Yep, they said November for him.
It's when Omni-Man drop.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That joint makes me want to go watch Invincible right now.
You know, I want to go watch like the last. I gotta watch the last couple episodes just to get myself refreshed.
Look, the trailer for season 2 made me want to go and watch the first season all over again.
What? Hey, no. After rewatching the Adam Eve joint, I was like, I'm all in. I'm so ready for this. That was like one of the worst teasers I've ever had, bro.
You know what? I never watched it. I completely forgot about it.
I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
I can watch that show tomorrow.
I feel like when I get on, maybe I should put that on real quick.
Bro, that joint gets. Oh man, yeah. Adam Eve joint. Please, if you haven't, if you have seen Invincible and you haven't seen the Adam Eve special, make it a priority. Just do it. Just make it happen, because that joint that's gonna make you hungry for season 2, man. I'm so ready. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
We got some news about Daredevil being like cut and going all the way back to square one, bro. Did you read anything about this? What's your?
I did. So, like, from when so after the whole, or they were wrapping up the strike. I know we're still in the end phases of that, but they were looking back at it and they said, like, this really isn't like Marvel quality that we're putting out. For the fact that, obviously being from the Netflix one, it was violent, it was gruesome. And, obviously we knew there were going to be changes in trying to bring it into the MCU and try to, I guess, tailor it to be more of like PG-13. But hearing that, they pretty much was like, nah, this is not it. Scrap it all. And I guess, and they fired the writers and the directors that were doing it. If I read that right. I think at least one of the batches got eliminated. And so now we're pretty essentially just taking this back to square one. Now, a part of me that scares me, but then at the same time, I'm like, okay, we were able to look in the mirror and realize that this was not up to that same standard that Netflix was able to put out. That side makes me feel a little bit better, but for you to have to go back and completely scrap the whole entire project, it's a little unsettling.
I mean, maybe. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Hearing that, I have no faith in the project going forward right now. Like it's a little disheartening that they're going to scrap everything they did and go back to square one. Because I mean, they were on the verge of ready to put it out, but whatever they sat and looked at has now changed their minds and they're going back. I like the fact that I thought they were trying to keep it still kind of dark, but probably not as violent. Like, we have like the mature rating now on Disney Plus that you can kind of put that type of stuff in. So
yeah,
maybe they're pulling back from that and, like you said, going with a PG-13 angle. If it doesn't hold up to, that's a problem I'm going to have. If it doesn't hold up to what Netflix did, I'm not going to like it. And I know that's going to hurt.
Oh, and the fact, I'm sorry, I don't mean what. And the fact that apparently they were in it and they said he apparently doesn't show up in the full Daredevil until like episode 4. They specifically say, yeah, he doesn't even put the outfit on. I was like, I feel like at this point we shouldn't need to wait that long. Like, we've already seen him in a outfit, different color than what we were used to, but I feel like we shouldn't have to wait for that.
I mean, it all depends on how the story's written.
Yeah, I think that depends on how this. Also, remember that they were talking about doing like 19 episodes.
Yeah.
It was going to be something crazy. So, like, yeah, I mean, I could see them maybe dragging that out. here's the thing. So Disney, in terms of the way that the Marvel shows have been done on Disney Plus, Disney broke away with a lot of the ways that a show is traditionally created and handled.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that was just because they're like, we're the MCU and we can do things different or whatever. I think they had such strong success with like WandaVision as their first show that maybe they just felt like it worked and they wanted to continue to do what they were doing. But a lot of what they have done has been new and unorthodox and has caused other people to have to follow suit, to try to do what they're doing, to emulate the kind of success that they've been having. What they haven't been able to do is truly replicate that with the TV shows for streaming. And, a lot of the traditional things where it's like you have a showrunner and the showrunner is kind of in charge of things and the outlook of the show. And then you bring in your directors and they kind of did away with that, right? Because everything has to kind of fall under what Feige is saying. We have to have this in the beginning. We have to have this in the end. And this has to happen somewhere in there. And like how you get there is kind of up to you. But these things have to happen. But when you take shows that have that kind of vision and you break them up where you have different directors directing every episode, like that kind of very broken. Like some episodes are 30 minutes and some episodes are 45 minutes. Some episodes are 57 minutes. And then you get one that's 32 minutes. Like those things seem to happen because the script isn't necessarily locked in right then and there. And a director might have a slightly different vision for what they want to do and where they want to go and those kinds of things. And I just think that in terms of trying to make Daredevil, regardless of whether or not it is as violent or matches specifically the aesthetic of what the Netflix show was, what the Netflix show had that worked was that vision of like, this is what it is. This is what the story is. This is the entire script. And this is where we're going, right? Where like, certain shows, whether you like them or didn't like them, just seem like from episode to episode, we're not even necessarily telling the same story. And it is definitely a thing that I personally feel like is happening with Loki right now. I feel like Loki is all over the place. And when you throw time travel in the mix with that, it just makes it worse. A lot of the shows that they have, even if I like them, there are definitely things about them. Like I can tell you that I don't like not knowing from episode to episode whether I'm sitting down for 30 minutes or I'm sitting down for 50 minutes, right? And having certain episodes feel like this just felt like it dragged out for longer than it needed to, or this just felt like it was way too short and it needed more, right? And it's like, well, so-and-so directed this episode and then so-and-so directed this episode. And that's not completely uncommon with shows that have a history. And then eventually they let somebody who is an actor on the show direct like an episode or something like that, or that person kind of sits and becomes like an executive producer in some manner somewhere. But it's not generally the way things are done kind of up front. And I feel like to get that vision, like the same thing happened with Moon Knight. Like Moon Knight had a writer and a director, and then like halfway through they just like Slim was like, I'm out, and just quit. Right? Because there's just too much going on. Too many hands in the pot, too many generals, you know what I mean? Too many chefs in the kitchen, whatever you want to call it. And it's like, this is not how it's supposed to work. And I also think that in the midst of coming out of these contracts that have been rewritten or renegotiated for writers, what's going to happen for actors is along the same lines. And like having to have certain rules where like now they have to have a certain number of writers that are hired to write and must be in the writer's room when they go in. And that's one of the things that they were pushing for, right? Those kinds of things I think are also new rules and regulations that they're going, you know what? We're still in the midst of writing this, and now the rules have changed. So maybe the only way to truly save this is to go back to square one, scrap it, and start over.
No.
Right? I'm not like, I know people who specifically never watched the Daredevil show because it was too violent for them. They're just like, this isn't what I want. And it was a thing that they were not used to getting with their Marvel content. I do think that as much as somebody like me has an appreciation for that kind of thing, because I like that kind of stuff anyway, it definitely was something that is sort of off-putting when you think about what Marvel and what Marvel's content has consistently been.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just rope any old viewer who's watched everything else that's going on and be like, oh, you should definitely watch Daredevil because it's so bloody. Like, they're not, you know what I mean? Like, I know people who are just like, I could not get past like the second episode. You know what I mean? Because it was too much for me. So I do think that as good as that show was, and as many people as that show may have brought into a fold that weren't in a fold before, and it was great for the Netflix shows, for Daredevil, for Luke Cage,
Jessica Jones,
not for Iron Fist. That's why I didn't say that.
I think that there were a lot of new people who came into the fold like, yo, I love what this is because I'm looking for shows like The Wire or The Sopranos or whatever. The majority of people who are used to watching Marvel content the way that Marvel has been given to us since Disney took over, that was too much and was way out of pocket. You know what I mean? Especially not having at least the comedic side of it like you have in a Deadpool,
right?
To kind of
balance
help,
it almost.
You know what I mean? Yeah, to balance that. So I won't be mad if it's not as violent. I do want it to be as serious, but I don't necessarily need it to be as violent. But I definitely need a hallway scene. Like, I need a hallway scene.
You gotta put the hallway scene in.
I need a oneer. I need some whoopings. I need the action to be correct.
The action has to be on the same level. It has to be. That
I have to have.
Yeah.
That's what I have to have. The only character I want recast is Iron Fist. Correct. I will tell you that I'll be perfectly fine if they don't have an Iron Fist at all.
Honestly, just
I'm fine. Leave him alone at this point.
My man decided to go run the company. So you know what? Just let him be in the building. Let him run the company, and the rest of the defenders can do what they need to do.
Let me be the one. Unpopular opinion. Luke Cage was weak.
That's not an unpopular opinion to me.
Slim was not like Mike Coulter is literally the least Luke Cage dude. I'm not saying he don't kind of look like Luke Cage, big with the bald head, but that's it.
Like, dude, stop speaking, dog. Please, you're driving me crazy.
Luke Cage does not sound like he went to Harvard, bro, and you sound fake when you try to like. There's no part of me that believe that version of Luke Cage loves hip hop. I'm not even saying Mike Coulter don't.
Every time he said the N word in it, I was like, that just sounds wrong coming out your face, dog.
It was forced to
say the N word. It doesn't feel genuine.
That dude is not born and raised in Harlem. That dude does not he don't speak for the people, for me, and I'm gonna keep that a whole buck. Like, just not the move, just not it. Like,
yeah.
If you think about the way people was mad if they watched The Wire when they found out that Idris Elba was British, he pulled it off. Because people was mad. Like, nah, ain't no way.
No, you heard him talk for the first time, like in the interview, and he had the British accent. It was just like, wait, hold, pause. That was
Black people were ready to disown Idris Elba. Like, he lied to them, and I'm like, nah, you just gotta understand it, my man. Like, really, he did the part. Like, he played the part. And I don't know if you've ever seen, like, he talks about how when he went in to audition for it, they told him, don't ever use an English accent. Don't even let them know that you're not from here, because the showrunner only wanted authentic people. I want people from New York. I want people from the street. I want people from Baltimore. Like, I want people from around, which is how a dude like Genghis from Backyard Band ends up in a show like The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Because he's from around the way.
Right.
So he went in and faked it. Not just the like screen test,
the whole
interview,
the whole thing, yeah.
My name
is the whole thing, and then he went back in for them to talk to him again, and the dude asked him like, "So where you from?" And he was like, "I know he knows I'm not. Why is he doing this?" And he was like, he had to just say like, all right, you got me. I'm from like, and just like, you doing it?
And then just said bullshit. No,
and
that
accent
is
that
real.
made them even more like, yo, that's our guy.
The way you did it,
like
the way you did it.
like that's our guy. But like for the American people watching The Wire, when they found like Luke Cage,
I am appalled. You deceived me.
Exactly, bro. Like for real, dude. Not even trying to like, this is not really like a strike on your character, but you could have been a much better Luke Cage than Mike Coulter.
That is an absolute compliment, so I'm gonna take that one.
Now you got it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't do anything for me. It did like I wanted to love that show so much, and I feel like I would have if it was anybody but him. Or for real, not even if it wasn't. It's not that it was him. It was that he didn't fit the part for me. Like when I read Luke Cage comics,
that's not how
he don't sound like that.
Cage.
Like in my head, he don't sound like that.
Even the games we play, Marvel Ultimate Alliance and stuff like that. Like, you are not playing Luke Cage, dude.
He should have got like, and I think I'm not even joking. I think Phil Lamar did the voice of Luke Cage in the game, in like Ultimate Alliance or one of those joints.
Pretty sure.
And clearly, Phil Lamar cannot be live action Luke Cage. Like,
right?
Hey, and this time point, hey, listen, they could have figured something out. They didn't CG'd him.
Nah, they would have had to straight AI that joint. Or something. So, like, for real, recast Luke Cage too. If they decide to put a Luke Cage in it, it better not be him.
Recast.
It better not be him. It can't be him. Put in Bokeem Woodbine, bro. Remove him from his role, this terrible role as the Shocker. Spider-Man.
Go get a dude from Strapped. Let's put him in there.
From Strapped, dog. Like, yes. Yes. Get Bokeem Woodbine from HBO Strapped. And make him Luke Cage, dog. Because for real, not even, again, listen, and I hate to like do this, but like,
there you go.
Can you imagine for a second?
I tried to put
because for real, nobody really knew who Mike Coulter was. Yes, dog. Bokeem Woodbine. Yes. Listen, nobody really knew who Mike Coulter was. Like, there was a few people who had an idea, whatever. But for real, in our world, most people only knew him for being the dude everybody hated as replacing Master Chief in Halo. So like, nobody really knew who he was. But dog, can you imagine for a second if they was like, Tay Diggs is playing?
No, he not. No, you not. Talking about a riot, bro.
Now Jessica Jones got her groove back. Tay Diggs. Get out of here, dog. Like,
that was the one. You took him out. Oh, that was the one.
I'm just saying, it's the same thing.
Oh man,
that's how it felt. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
that's how it felt. And I like Tay Diggs, but he couldn't have been. Nah, it just wasn't. It wasn't right. I just feel like they cast Luke Cage on looks, and that was it. I had no intention of letting that be.
All right.
You know what? Let's change the subject.
That's how you feel, Gabe. You trying to check me out. That's all you trying to check me out tonight. That's all. That's how you feel.
love you though. Yeah, I mean, I know you always got the inhaler on deck. We're good.
I got to with y'all.
Straight up. Jokes.
Yo.
It's official, bruh.
About time.
Oh my God.
Xbox, Activision, Blizzard King. It's a done deal. The paperwork is signed.
Oh my
the
God.
ink ain't even dry, but it doesn't matter. It is what it is.
2 years?
Nah, listen, you right, Heather. He did help Jessica Jones get her groove back, but she could have just gone to the Bahamas and met Tay Diggs. She ain't had to stay. She ain't had to stay in the Harlem streets
Nah, she could have got out of there.
at all. I'm just saying. And for real, like, I feel like Jessica Jones has options, but in that show, it seemed like her options were Luke Cage or that crackhead that lived in her building, and that was it. So I'm just saying,
wasn't gonna be able to take her. It was gonna have to.
No, not happening, Doc. Nah,
let me.
That ain't Luke Cage.
Hey, listen, I like Mike Coulter. Like I've seen him in some other stuff, and
I don't hate Mike Coulter.
It's just not where he's doing.
He's just not Luke Cage.
It's just not that. Now listen, my man can play a drug dealer. Because he has that smooth talking that he can do. I've been watching. Hold up. Let me.
I didn't want y'all to know that jokes like this drug dealers that sound smooth.
Hey, listen, I've been watching. Hey, hold up. I've been watching the. Hey, Sen, I ain't trying to kill you. So
you should have said that out your face.
But listen, no, hold up. Listen. I know y'all haven't watched it. I've been watching The Good Wife, and he's in that junk. And
he a smooth talking drug dealer.
Listen, he's a drug dealer. And when I tell you, everybody knows it, but because of how he presents himself, they can't put nothing on my man because of what he does.
Because he's just too smooth with it that like nobody actually believes that he's a drug dealer. Like you can't believe it.
They know his ass is a drug dealer, but he know what to do to make sure they don't know that he's a drug dealer. Even though,
so he doesn't get caught as a drug dealer.
Yeah, he don't get caught as a drug
I'm just saying that like in Luke Cage, it sounds like my man is going on an interview in every episode. Like he got, you know what I'm saying? Like my man be showing up in the shot up hoodie to whoop people with like his resume and
hey Gage,
like
when he sit around the barbershop trying to talk about hip hop, I'm like, dude, if you don't shut up,
you don't shut your mouth, dog. Like, and I'm not like, listen, and again, look, he could have the most knowledge because like hip hop's so universal now that like everybody knows it, bro. But like, you don't even. Luke Cage bald. He ain't supposed to be in the barbershop. But I'm just saying, like, it's just, I didn't feel it. I wasn't feeling
operations.
It didn't feel genuine to me because the whole point of those particular heroes, the defenders, is that they are street level. Mm-hmm. They don't go save the world. They save Harlem. And I wasn't with it. I wasn't feeling it. So I feel like y'all are cooking. He not even here. Hey, listen. I would gladly invite him here.
The facts.
To tell him to his face that a pimp named Slipback would have whooped him.
Phone tech.
Like, put it this way, like Mike Coulter could not get cast in Friday. And so, like, if you can't be in Friday, you can't be
Luke Cage.
Like, for real, like, come on, because Luke Cage really is a little more Tiny Zeus Lister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, that's all. I'm just, anyway, 8 jokes.
Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. It's official, bro. And I gave y'all a little homework.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it was work, schoolwork. But I want y'all to look at this graphic.
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Hey, dog, they got a lot. Now, this isn't all Activision
of
Blizzard,
course,
but I tried to chop it down a little bit to help it like I kind of chopped it in half. Just to look at all the studios, right? But like I did a rundown of the studios that are tied specifically to Activision, Blizzard, and King.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking Beanox, High Moon Studios, Blizzard, and Activision, obviously. There's Activision Shanghai, which is a separate studio for Activision. Raven, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Toys for Bob, Treyarch, World's Edge, Demonware, Digital Legends Entertainment, and like, dog, that's not even all of them. That's not even all of what they got by bringing them in. And of course, obviously, there's King, which is, you know. So I asked y'all to kind of come up with some ideas, some thoughts about what kind of games y'all want to see. What do you want to see come to them? Phil Spencer actually did an interview today on the Xbox podcast. He's actually flying out to Switzerland, Zurich, somewhere to go meet with the team at King, like today. Okay. To talk with them. He said, you know, he hasn't met with a lot of the teams, and he just kind of wants to go in and listen to what they want to do, listen to what their complaints are, listen to kind of what, you know, what ideas they have, stuff like that, right? Because it's going to take a lot to kind of get everybody on the same
page. Absolutely.
And you know, they're not making any promises. He's like, I wish I had a button I could push, and I was just like, oh, here's all this old Activision stuff that's coming to Game Pass, but like that's not a thing. It's not going to happen this year. You know, obviously it will happen eventually, but I do want to know what you guys would like, you know, to see come. Now, before I get some ideas from you, I just want to kind of go through a list of some of the IP that Microsoft has now acquired, if that's cool. Y'all cool with that?
Okay, cool.
Let's run the list. Obviously, there's Call of Duty.
I was gonna say you'll probably touch some of the ones like I've probably thought of in the IP list and anything else. Yeah, definitely. Sure.
But if I say something that you hadn't thought of, feel free to stop me and go, I didn't realize that. So Call of Duty, obviously. Crash Bandicoot. Spyro, which in turn means Skylanders.
That was the one I was thinking. Yep.
Hearthstone. Diablo. Overwatch. StarCraft.
Bingo.
World of Warcraft.
Bingo.
Candy Crush. Prototype. Blur. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. True Crime.
Boom.
Oh man, I haven't heard that in a minute.
Pitfall. Tenchu. Guitar Hero. DJ Hero. That's a lot.
Okay.
And again, that's not even close to being all of them. Talk to me, gentlemen. Sin, you first.
StarCraft, for a fact. I want to see that come to Game Pass. Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, but just Warcraft. I want to see that come to Game Pass.
Well, Warcraft's already in Game Pass in many capacities.
My man said, "Enlighten me."
Don't worry. I know I'm going to the shop right after we get off. But yes, those and True Crime was the other one I thought of that I would like to see from the Game Pass. So those
like the old True Crimes, like you want to see the original True Crimes, just like
both of them because it was like True Crimes and True Crimes like LA or whatever. Yeah, I'd like to see them both come to Game Pass and let's work on getting another one out there if we can. Yeah, I
meant to do some research to see where Sleeping Dogs falls because I know Sleeping Dogs started as a new true crime game and then became Sleeping Dogs. I meant to look into that, but I didn't have time. I didn't look into it. But those are your big joints, huh?
Yeah, those are my big joints. Yeah.
What about you?
Obviously for me, I love the Tony Hawk franchise. I mean, we already have it, at least the remakes on, of course, the current gen consoles that people can play, but eventually maybe being able to go play some of those other versions of it.
I thought so.
Unfortunately, with a lot of the track listings that are on the Tony Hawk games, some of those are probably going to be kind of difficult to navigate to put in other than pulling the music out of them. World of Warcraft, of course, is a huge one. Maybe take a little bit of time to migrate it to where it could be on the box, but definitely Game Pass PC, it would be a very smooth potential transition to do with that. And obviously inside of Game Pass, you'll get discounts on the additional DLCs as they come out. Makes it more enticing to get in and save a few bucks when that time comes along. Rumors had just started, ironically, about Guitar Hero, and
Yeah, I know.
in a type of possible reemergence of it. Y'all know I absolutely love Guitar Hero, and if they were able in some shape or form, even if they didn't do all of them, there was a couple of them that incorporated songs from some of the earlier titles into it, so you could go through and play a lot of those on there. It's just another one of those things where licensing to some of these songs is like, if you're able to put that money out there and get it done, because like people and fans have been keeping Guitar Hero alive through. You guys know I played it there's a one called Clone Hero where literally fans put it together themselves. Yeah, put it together themselves where you can have the tracks. They add in current music, anime, like you name it, you can get it for it. But I think those are just some of those big titles. And like you brought up Skylanders. Now, obviously Nintendo with the Amiibos. Amiibos are an absolute thing. I don't know if you necessarily.
Are they though? I mean, I know they keep putting stuff out, and I know they finally announced like the last couple of characters for,
and that's what I was getting at. It's like I don't know if necessarily attempting to compete or do that again. It may be a cool thing if you say, "Hey, we're gonna put Skylanders in Game Pass, and if you have your hardware and your figures, and you want to go back and actually be able to play it, this is for you guys." Because like honestly, it was a regular. You just hook it up with the USB, and it works fine. Here's the software for you to go back in here and have fun. Not to mention some of those X-Men games too. Some of those X-Men games that Activision did were pretty solid.
Yeah, that's Raven Software with like X-Men Legends. You know, it's interesting to me because when I look at the list of studios, Beanox, High Moon Studios did those Transformers games that were really dope on the 360.
Okay.
Beanox there was a really dope Spider-Man game, like Web of Shadows.
Web of Shadows.
Like that.
Web of Shadows and Shadow Dimensions. Like them two were pretty.
They were pretty dope. But Beanox, High Moon, Raven, Sledgehammer, Infinity War, and Treyarch are all studios that were swallowed up by Activision and then all forced to work on Call of Duty. And so, depending on what the plan is, what the cadence is around Call of Duty, and whether or not those teams still want to do that. So, the thing for me is that while I think about it and I go, okay, these teams that did these other kind of really dope games that were great enough that Activision bought these studios, now they've been pushed to kind of doing maps and, you know, working background stuff for Call of Duty while you have your main folks, your Treyarch, your Sledgehammer, and so forth, working on the main title for Call of Duty. It does make me wonder whether or not those studios like a Beanox or a High Moon that kind of got forced into doing that, whether or not the people who were there when they were making that other stuff are even still with the studio. Have they moved on, gone somewhere else? Are they parts of, you know, other studios? Would it even make sense to pull them off of something like that and let them do something different? Because it's highly possible that they just kind of started to then hire out for people who could really help them with what it is that they were forced to work on, which was Call of Duty stuff. It is going to be hard for me to really see Microsoft has no intentions of pulling Call of Duty from being on every platform they can put it on, right? That is something that is tried and true based on what they have done with Minecraft. Minecraft Live was yesterday. They have all this new stuff that's coming to Minecraft, and Minecraft is literally the best-selling game of all time. They just crossed like 300 million copies or something stupid like that. So it ain't slowing down and it's not going away. People are just continuing to buy Minecraft. And that, I think, has shown them that if they have something that is a platform that they can ship, if you think about Minecraft, it's on everything. It's on tablets, it's on phones, it's on PC, on all consoles, it's on everything. So there's a lot of money coming from that. I will tell you that I watched the interview with Phil earlier today, and they asked him directly, like, because questions are coming from the community saying, so now that like Microsoft has Call of Duty, does that mean like we're gonna get the skins first? Are we gonna get maps that other people don't get? Are we gonna have weapons? And he was like, no. My plan is for there to be parity across everything. He said we've been on the receiving side of that, where somebody else, PlayStation or whoever, had maps or had skins or had things, and we had to wait 6 months or wait a year to get them, and it doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good to have that happen. So why would we want to turn around and do that to somebody else? In no way was the purchase of Activision and gaining Call of Duty something we did to force people to go and buy an Xbox, and we're not going to weaponize it that way, which I think makes sense, right? Because currently the model that's in place is making billions upon billions of dollars every year, and Call of Duty outsells every other game that comes out every year before the year is over, and it always comes out at the very end. Right? So you don't want to.
You don't change that. You let that revenue stream. You let that stay the same, and you just add to it.
Right?
It's not broken.
Right? You are now looking for a way to make it make more money for you, and that means making it easier for people to buy the skins, to get in and play, to do it wherever you are. And that's what I think the honest to goodness plan is. Call of Duty is out of the window for me. I don't play it. I almost don't care, except for the fact that I understand how big of a title it is, right? And what it does mean to gaming as a business, right? But to a lot of gamers, that's something to play. But I would love to see a team like Beanox get an opportunity to just go do something they want to do, right? Just like, what kind of ideas do you guys have? What have y'all been thinking about? If we could go and garner another, like you guys did a great Spider-Man game. If we could go get a title from Marvel, who would you want? What would you want to take a crack at? Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's where I'm at. Like, I actually saw Hasbro specifically tweet out, yo, Microsoft, what up? Let's get these Transformers joints popping, right?
That would be
those back
in. Just old joints come back. But if you could flip me and get me something new, I'd be down with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to see Raven get another chance to really do like an X-Men Legends and have, you know, Disney give Microsoft the opportunity to let one of these other studios do something like that. I don't care about a new Spyro, but I know it's important to some people. I don't care about a new Crash Bandicoot, but I know it's important for some people. Would I like to see maybe one of those teams get a chance at like a Banjo? Sure, but I also probably wouldn't play it, except for the fact that I know it would come to Game Pass, and so I'd be in. But I'm like kind of past the platformer part of my life. Like, I'm not interested in like Mario Wonder at all. I want to be like, it looks cool, but I know I'll get bored. Like, it just doesn't do anything for me anymore. But there are so many teams like Sledgehammer or even Treyarch that were doing other things besides Call of Duty before they got scooped up. And so I do think that there are teams that are going to be looking for some of that freedom, and I'd like to see them get some of that. As far as bringing old stuff back, like right now, like just take one of them teams and put them on a Tony Hawk Underground remaster, a Thug 2 joint, and then let Microsoft spend the money and do the work to get the licenses for the music and for all of that kind of stuff, so that we can get, you know, some of that fresh. You know, they got like BMX games that's sitting in, like Activision owns a lot of property.
Oh yeah,
Matt Hoffman Jones.
Yeah, I used to play them.
As a matter
You
of
know, it
fact,
was like that.
I think they had the Dave Mirra joint too. I think they shifted. I think it was like Matt Hoffman at a point, and then they switched to Dave Mirra, if I remember
Over
right.
to Dave Mirra.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'd be down. You know, I don't necessarily want to see a new Pitfall. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so good. You know what I mean? I don't need that. But now that they own it, right? I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to seeing like some indie studio that works through ID at Xbox get a shot at an IP that Microsoft owns now, and maybe do something sort of different and cool with it that is kind of just like a, you know, a regular downloadable, you know what I mean, even something short or something small, almost like how, like, I wouldn't necessarily mind a new Prince of Persia, but like the old school, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily a 3D one, like, but I could kind of deal with, you know, something that's in like a Metroidvania, and a Pitfall kind of redone to be a Metroidvania. I feel like could be really cool if you give it to the right team. So there's definitely stuff I want to see come to Game Pass, and it definitely starts with a lot of that stuff like X-Men Legends. I want it, bro. Turn the servers on. Let me get that,
bruh. Y'all fixed the Call of Duty jump like that day that like all of them jumps came back to life. Hey, listen.
The world went crazy. They went crazy.
Just flip the switch, and you don't even have to drop all of those Call of Duties in the Game Pass as of yet. You literally could just turn it on for like Black Ops 2. That one show up in Game Pass, and everybody gonna lose it.
That's gonna jump to the top so fast.
Right. Right. I mean, again, that's just, it's one of those things. I'm just interested to see how they handle certain things. Like, I know that there are some people who only want to play on like BattleNet, right? And does that mean now that you gotta like sign into an Xbox, you know what I'm saying, live account or connect? You probably just have to connect them, an Xbox Live account with a BattleNet account or something like that. But I certainly think that what they can do in terms of like PC and PC Game Pass, like, again, like, I don't really World of Warcraft, but I know it's a big deal for a lot of people and has been for a very, very long time. And for them to find a way to make that accessible via Game Pass, I think would be bananas. I mean, they structured a deal with Riot for like League of Legends and all of those games for PC Game Pass. So to be able to do something like that for World of Warcraft, you know, if you had Game Pass, I think would be pretty incredible. And if they manage to find a way to get World of Warcraft working on a console, it might be over.
That is
like,
I would love that.
But I also think that if they were going to do something like that, I think they push to get it on PlayStation as well.
Oh no, definitely.
I just do.
Just get it everywhere. But like thinking about also how like the play we talked about, like PlayStation having Evo, you now having Call of Duty, you know, that gives you the Call of Duty series. They have Overwatch, which now essentially will give them that access into like the Overwatch League. Like, you start putting these other pieces of things into play that you're going to be able to, hey, granted they're going to be playing on PCs, so
hey, owned by Microsoft.
Why not sponsored by Microsoft?
Yo, listen, real talk. Phil Spencer today was like, you know, I never been to BlizzCon. You go now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's yours.
I'm not going to do it. Hey, y'all, it's me. Let me in.
What do you mean? Maybe they'll invite me. Yeah, they're going to invite you. Yeah, I just think that world, you know, Phil comes from playing games and building games and loves like the history of games and just thinks all of that kind of stuff is important. And I just think that, like, you know, it's going to be, I think that what we're going to see is first going to be, here's some nostalgia punches. Here's such and such game. Here's such and such game. You know, do I think they go back and say, look, if you still have your old guitars or whatever and they're the USB ones, you can use them and play? Sure. Do I think that they're going to go out and try to get somebody to manufacture guitars? Probably not. But it would not surprise me if, you know, they partnered with somebody like 8-Bit Dough or somebody that makes controllers or that kind of thing to just do, you know, some sort of a peripheral or something like that you can add on, and they're just like, yeah, let's just, people want to play Guitar Hero, let's get it going again. You know what I mean?
I got guitars. I will grab if it just works. It's USB. It should just plug in interface. I'm ready. Release me a new
I
one.
honestly can't see why not.
Release me a new one just for looks and feels that I can get.
Yep.
I'm in. If you literally just tell me all I gotta do is buy another guitar or make it accessible that I can buy another guitar, I'm in.
So you ready to go?
Yeah, if they put Guitar Hero guitars in the same thing as like the Xbox controller joint where you can
Dog, if they put
it
it on in Design Lab, I'm gonna have a Lotus Next guitar. Hey, listen. There's going to be a Lotus Next guitar.
She got excited.
I knew it, dog. Immediately.
And it only has to be the plate. All they gotta do is do the plate.
Yeah.
Because they did that 1 year with the guitar. Instead of making the fancy one, they just said, screw it. Just make fancy plates. Just make them interchangeable. Go from there. I'm down for it.
I mean, they could do it, dog. They doing raps for the console. So, you know, they could do it. Joe. I'm with it. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plans out, how this plays out. I think we'll see something, you know, between January and February. I think we start to see the first couple of things hit, maybe February. You know, I think they kind of clear some things up, have some time to meet with the teams, figure things out, figure out what they're doing with Bobby Kotick. You know what I mean? Getting rid of him.
The end of the year.
Yeah. I think that is kind of where they are, and they have to get some of that stuff squared away. You know, ABK has a union too. They just have to touch on a lot of that kind of stuff to get it squared away. But you know, I'm there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't be like the fact that they now own Blur and like Geometry Wars because the people that did those teams got swallowed up by Activision. It's like, yo, can we get a racing game by somebody other than them that isn't like, can we just get a cool racing game or something like that just can we swing Kudos back into the system now and really have something that rivals Forza or something else like that is more arcadey that we don't really have anymore. Like those studios can just do some of that stuff.
Because EA is refusing to just give us Need for Speed Underground. I am just
I mean, people seem to like the last Need for Speed though. Did you play it?
It's okay. I like it. It's okay, but
I've hated the Need for Speed series for years now. They've just not done what I've needed. So I've not.
Keep doing all these other remakes, but the one that everybody wants.
I'm gonna tell you what. The reason why Need for Speed is weak is because Midnight Club ate that joint's lunch. And Midnight Club doesn't exist anymore because Rockstar took that team and put them on Grand Theft.
Hey, listen, just put Midnight Club in Grand Theft and call it a day.
Hey man, listen, if they actually did that, and they kind of have, I mean, they do have a lot of racing series games, but like what is missing that was so dope about Midnight Club before they did the dub edition and all of that or whatever.
Cars real big.
It was the shortcuts. It was like being able to like go off a ramp, drive through the glass of a building, go through a building, and all of that's missing. You know what I mean? And the last joint they did in LA or whatever.
Yep.
Midnight. Yep. I think it was Midnight Club LA.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right, but it wasn't the same. And they don't have, there isn't anything like that. And if you're gonna do it, like everybody wants Burnout, and I'm like, Burnout's cool, but it's not Midnight Club. It just isn't. And if you was to give me a Midnight Club, because that's, I think, the difference. Like Horizon, as cool as Horizon is not a racing game. Forza Horizon is a driving game. Forza is a racing game that is a simulation. What I'm looking for is an arcade racer. Something that is not Cruising World, but has Cruising World type aesthetics with the more open world aspects of being able to, like, even Mario Kart had like secret You know what I'm saying? Like
Areas
cut
of
through
that you could go through.
You know what I'm saying? And jumps and stuff like that. So like,
Take
give
all
it
the
to
way
me.
back to Jones on
Give it
N64
to
doing
me.
that.
Make it an idea of Xbox joint, put the joint straight in the Game Pass, and let's just see what happens, and then just start building tracks. You know what I mean? And then just build tracks from every game, from every studio you have.
Dog.
Give me a Sea of Thieves track, give me a Fable track, give me a Call of Duty track.
Perfect
You know what
Zero
I'm saying?
track.
Give me a Spyro track, give me a Crash track, give me like just throw them in there. You know what I mean? And just I'd be here for it. Totally here for it. It's exciting. It's gonna be very interesting to see how they handle things and what they do next. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the idea of them having first party games that are designed to hit once a quarter really does hit, and their ability to kind of hit that cadence. You know what I mean? And stay when you have so many studios. You know, we'll see how that works out. Let's wrap the show up. It's been a long show. Listen, for everybody who's hanging out with us, we greatly appreciate it. Extra Life is coming up. So November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we will be gaming for at least 8 hours a day, each one of those days. But it looks like we're planning to play for longer than that because it's how we do. We'll be putting out some information on what exactly we're looking to hit. But right now we are discussing the possibility of like, if we hit a certain goal in terms of donations on each day, then we'll add an additional game and we'll play for a bit longer. Those kind of things. We have some other people that are going to be doing some really cool things that are not necessarily us, but are playing for our team. So we'll be getting some information out to you about that. Speaking of which, one of those people is Frosty, who those of you who hang out in movie club and so forth know who Frosty is. Frosty will be on the show with us next week. She was going to join this week, but something came up. She's going to join the show next week so she can talk about her time at her first ever New York Comic Con from last week and to talk to us about LotCon, which is coming up the following week. Zaina says, wait, will you be doing a FNAF Spoiler Boys? Who's going to see FNAF? How are we going to do a Spoiler Boys when nobody planning to go see?
I don't know if he's going to go see it.
Hell no.
Yeah, so
he's definitely not going. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but
I'm not against it.
I don't even know when it comes out. I don't even know when it comes out. So yeah. So Extra Life coming up in just a couple of weeks. So we're putting some things together, and the games keep changing, and stuff keeps happening, and
October 26th.
We're having a good time with that. So again, LotCon is coming up. I believe that's the 29th. Out in that's Comic Logic's doing that. She'll be in next week to talk about that. October 27th. He says 26th. He said October 26th, like he finna go see it, but I don't know why that happened.
No, I just putting the information out there for anybody who wanted to go see it.
Okay. Appreciate it. Jokes. What's happening in wrestling?
Right now we don't have too much. Our next thing coming up for wrestling isn't actually until November at this point, which we get AEW and we get WWE in the same month. So
that is the same week as Extra Life. Is that correct?
WWE Crown Jewel is most certainly the same Saturday as Extra Life.
Yep. At 1 p.m.
Okay.
It's in the UK.
Oh yeah, no, it's during the middle of the day. Yep. So yeah, no, that we'll still at some point figure out how we can get a prediction show earlier in the week.
Do you have WWE 2K23?
I have 2K23.
But it is 2023. So when does 24 come out?
Probably I think
I feel like March. I don't even recall hearing them announce that.
23 they announced, but 24, nah. I know they've pulled back a little bit because I know that they're trying to do a little more revamp. So I don't know if we'll hear about it because normally it comes out like in the October-ish time, like somewhere around in there sometimes. So
you have it too, right?
Yeah.
Are we Is there a triple tag team belt?
There's no 6-man tag team belt in
No, that would be in
AEW.
That'd be in AEW. Fight Forever.
Hey, listen, that joint's on sale.
I know it's on sale, jokes. We could actually go for
I'm
trios
just saying,
titles.
like,
I'm done.
because
And listen, Sin, I put the kibosh on Assassin's Creed. I don't need to go back and do some of the other stuff. I can put that on pause.
I mean,
I'm
so
just
what it
saying,
sounds
man.
like is what Gage is saying is trios titles is looking real like we might be getting this AEW and going for these trios titles. Can we go for the trios titles and Fight Forever?
I'm pretty sure we can.
No. I need a confirmation.
If we do the joint, we do a stream, a extra light pre-stream for the created character, right? Create our characters, form our team.
The Spoiler Boys.
I'm just asking, seeing what's up because
we'll look it up. We'll look it up. It might be a thing. We'll look it up.
Oh, that joint went off sale. No.
The disappointment.
Because I saw that joint yesterday.
It was.
Oh my god. Oh, they're gonna make.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that offline. Sam, what's happening in the anime world? What's going on through the park?
Through the park this week, we are continuing further into the Abyss with Main Abyss Season 2. We are doing episodes 4 through 6 this week. Jokes, how are you enjoying this ride through Main of Abyss?
I'm enjoying the hell out of Made in Abyss. I can tell you now, the creator, I got some questions for you because there's some questionable things in this damn series, but story's great.
Story's amazing. But yeah,
there's some questionable things that I need to talk to.
Somebody just might want to scan his laptop or something. There might be some hidden photos on there. You might want to get somebody up off the street. All I'm saying. But other than that, it's a great time. It's a great time, and it is one emotional ride. I will put it that. Yeah.
Hey,
but it's
quick sidebar. While we're talking about wrestling and anime at the same time, hey Sin, you know the Justice League Cross RWBY. What I don't watch that anime. You know that the second part, Ruby. Thank you. I didn't. Killer Croc is in it. They just announced who's voicing Killer Croc. It's MJF.
How about these language? Let me hold that for a second. Shut the front door. You're lying to me. You are lying to me that MJF is playing Killer Croc. Because I swear I will probably watch it right now just because I need to hear that.
It's the second part. He's not in the first one.
I mean, I was definitely trying to avoid that joint because it looks terrible. That joint looks terrible. But all right. So, movie of the month for Movie Club is Indecent Proposal. More than likely looking at having our discussion next Thursday, but that remains to be seen. We'll let y'all know. Next month, we are not doing a movie of the month. As per requested in the Patreon, we are going to be doing our top 10 franchises of all time. Looking at doing that earlier in the month, probably second week, so like the week after Extra Life, which is going to be tiring, but maybe the only way we can really make that happen, because once we as a group decide what that top 10 is, we are then going to take the top 3 and use that as our starter list. We are also going to do a panel at Ocean City Comic-Con, and that panel is going to be the top 10 franchises of all time. Mm-hmm. And that is definitely going to be a good time. It's going to get a little tricky. What movie of the month for December is going to be has not been decided. However, I want you to know that I am heavily looking at Multiplicity.
Ooh.
But we'll see.
We
shall see. I have to look into. I don't know if it's available. We try to keep it streaming, Somebody asked, Doctor Who specifically asked about why we weren't doing something scary. Yeah, we could have done something scary. Actually, initially we were going to do Black Swan for this month, but then it turned out that I guess because streaming services are what they are, Black Swan went from being available on streaming services to not being available on streaming services, and so we try to make it as accessible as possible without people having to spend money and that kind of stuff to watch, the movies that we choose. And so sometimes when we choose something, we end up like last year, every movie we picked, we chose in like December of the year before, and literally had an entire map for the entire year. And then we get to that month or like the month before, and it's no longer available in that streaming service. And now it's not on anything and we can't find it. And so we had to switch. And so like just in lieu of trying to kind of keep that the way it is, that's kind of how some of those things work behind the scenes sometimes, unfortunately. So outside of that, that will wrap the majority of our year. And then third week of January, we're right back in MagFest. So we are right back into the thick of things. We have MagFest and then KatsuCon in February, followed by ChromaCon. Second week of March, followed by AwesomeCon the third week of March. So
Woo,
it just gets real quick. And I just found a new convention that's in April, and I'm trying to see what we can do about that. So we just, we're working on things. We're staying busy, trying to keep that as pop. And I'm almost positive that sometime in between those things will also be either the Harry Potter party we always do for Transcendent Events, and or Nerd Prom, which is usually in February, somewhere around Valentine's Day. So there's a lot happening. And at some point in between all of this and continuing to do Spoiler Boys for Loki season 2, we got to go see the Marvels and do the Spoiler Boys for the Marvels. I believe it's the same weekend as Extra Life, or the weekend after Extra Life.
It's the week after.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. So
yeah, got enough to watch that week.
Good.
So that happened. So having said that, I think we can wrap this up. Jokes, if you never mind, you came late. Sin, if you could put the Beacons link back up, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
If you would also do me the favor and follow by putting the playlist back up for StellaCon for the panels. Again, I would just really appreciate if everybody went and watched those panels, gave us a thumbs up, shared those panels. Not only did we work really hard, along with our friend Natasha Cannondale X, to get the hosting and stuff together for that. We worked really hard in terms of managing the stage and what was going on stage there. And Jokes and Kay put in a lot of hard time just doing the edits and kind of getting things together so we could get them up and make them visible for everybody. And so it just really helps a lot if not only would you go and watch them, but also share them and do the thumbs up thing and all that. And so
Please do.
That playlist, now that it's all together and it's all in one playlist, will just make it easy to go in and watch them all. And so we'd appreciate it if you all go and check those out. Again, we had a really good time doing it, but it is a lot of work. Like, we put in a lot of work and time trying to make, those things happen and make sure that people are taken care of and that, questions are good. And I think when we talk kind of behind the scenes as we do our snacking and hanging this week, we'll kind of fill you in a little bit on how some of that stuff behind the scenes works. So that'd be cool. So if you're a Patreon member, you'll get to kind of hear some of that. If not, you won't, but you could be. You could be. Right, Sin?
Absolutely. So let's shout out our top tier Patreon members, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Embe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
That is an absolute fact. I also want to remind everyone that if for some reason you don't see Spoiler Boys pop up when it should, message Jokes, not me. I mean, if you message me, I'm just going to message Jokes.
He's just going to relay the message. But you ain't got to worry about that right now.
Because you just shoot the messenger. Just go right to him.
Are you
Right to the
sure, Jokes?
source.
Because when I checked, I didn't see the audio for Loki 1 up on Spotify.
Hey, because I got Patreon first. I'll fix that though. I'll fix that.
I'm just saying that was last week, so I'm just saying it should be up. That's all I'm just saying. And I'm, but honestly, for real, on the most, like, it's a lot of work. Like, we put a lot of work on Jokes. Jokes does like all of that editing and adding the music and kind of setting things up, and he works late into the night. And so sometimes, to be honest with you, like, we're human. Sometimes those things miss. So, like, again, feel free to let us know, like, if, hey, we missed something or you didn't see something or whatever. Again, you can message me, but if you message me, I'm just gonna tell you, like, oh, I'll talk to him. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. That's you know what I mean. That's just kind of what's gonna happen. Again, sometimes it happens, stuff falls through the cracks. Like last week, it was literally like we had to record Spoiler Boys for Loki season 2. Andy had to finish editing that on top of getting the edit for the Crystal Gems panel done and uploaded and posted. And like when you're uploading and that can take time, getting that into YouTube, it's a lot. So it can be a lot. So just bear with us a little bit sometimes, but honestly, feel free to just say, hey, I looked and I didn't see this, whatever. And we'll do everything we can to just get it up and out there for you as soon as possible. We just, you keep working with us and we'll keep working with you. And we definitely want to make sure that we get the content we spend so much time creating out to you because we want you to see it. Otherwise, we wouldn't spend the time creating it. So I appreciate your patience, and I honestly do appreciate everybody who reaches out, and says, hey, I didn't see such and such, or, what's going on, or, whatever. Because a lot of times those messages do come like to me, like, hey, is everybody okay? Is everything okay? Like I do get like literal, like people just asking if everything's okay, if, whatever, which again, I do genuinely appreciate. So thank you all for that. I honestly believe that like we have the best patrons and followers and so forth, like on the internet. Like you guys are awesome. And again, a large part of why we keep doing what we're doing. So thank you for that. Thank you to Sin and thank you to Jokes. Thank you to Kay, who's out there in internet land somewhere, probably taking pictures or editing video or making music or something. We have some things in the works that are coming. Looks like Kay is probably even going to be doing some DJing for us on Twitch for Extra Life. So that'll be an extra thing that you'll be able to tune into and go just see my man like spin some beats and do some DJing and stuff like that. And you'll be able to tune in there and donate to Extra Life through his stream there. So again, we have some things that are brewing. Keep your eyes and ears peeled. We'll get them to you. Jokes, if you wouldn't mind, tell the people what I need them to know.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
That's a fact. With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.
Loading snacks.